Hey Professor Bridges and anyone else watching, hopefully maybe some future gauchos out there. My name is Crystal and I'm currently an undergrad at UCSB. And this video is for a seminar that I'm taking, which is about male masculinity and violence. And in the course, we read a book by Peggy Orenstein. It's called Boys and Sex. I highly recommend you guys to read it. But anyways, I'm gonna kind of talk about some topics that she talked about in the book and kind of share my thoughts on them and how they kind of play out at UCSB. So one of the first things she talks about is hookup culture. Now, hookup culture is, and beforehand, I'm just gonna say these are my own thoughts on UCSB, my own experiences. I'm not saying this is exactly how it is. Every person's experience is different, but this is just mine. But hookup culture at UCSB, in my own experience, is very, very highly prevalent. It is a big thing. It's very normal, to be honest. It's very, very normal. But something that I feel like is not very normal, at least at UCSB, in my own experience, not yet, is verbal confirmation. The yes means yes, no means no, all that. I see this hookup culture play out all of the time at IV, and it's so important that you are very careful. And I'm talking about boys and girls. Like, it's so important, because trust me, on a Friday night, Saturday night, people get very, very drunk, and asking for consent is not always on the top of your list. Maybe the top of your list is, I just want to go over and talk to her. I just want to go dance with her. I just want to go ask her, like, what she's doing after. Or I want to go ask him what he's doing after, invite him back to my place, or, the list goes on and on and on. And sometimes asking for consent kind of gets lost in there, because you're always like, oh, well, he seems interested, she seems interested, she was grinding on me earlier, she seemed interested earlier. But it's so important to keep on asking for that. And I remember one of the young men in the book was talking about this, and he's like, yes, it's something that as a man I'm always very aware of, that I need to make sure that the woman that I'm hooking up with or being with intimately wants this, that she confirms that she wants this. And another topic that I really want to go into, and she discusses too, is good men versus bad men. The main argument here is that, again, I'm trying not to stereotype, but I've been to so many parties where the thing here, the problem here is that the male will assume things. The male will say, well, look at how she's dancing, look at how much she's drinking, or even if I'm just there, they're like, well, she's here at a party. Like, what is she looking for? And it's that assumption that I'm looking for something, that I possibly want to have sex with them, etc., right? It's like always that assumption. That assumption will lead down a very, very, very bad path if you do not ask for confirmation, right? Because then if you assume, maybe you're like, okay, well, I'm assuming that she likes me. I'm assuming that she's into me. So I'm just going to, maybe slap her ass or get up behind her and touch her. I've experienced this so many times when I'm like dancing, right? I'm like dancing right here. My friends are like around me, or like in a little circle, right? And I'm just dancing, minding my own business, and some man will come up behind me and start touching me. And I remember when I first got to UCSB, I was like, okay, well, if he's cute, like, it's fine, it's whatever. But when I was taking this course, I started to think about it. I'm like, that's really, really, excuse my language, but it's fucked up. It's really fucked up. you know, I think that's still a very, very big problem at UCSB. It's a very, very big problem. Literally just thinking of this, I thought of another example of one time we went to a concert at UCSB in like the Thunderdome. And me and my friends were all like in a row basically. And there was this guy behind one of my friends and he kept on like touching her. Like at first she was like, I thought it was just because we were like so close together. Like we were all like packed in there and we're like, okay, like it's fine. Cause you know, I had like some people behind me like touching my back, but I'm like, okay, like it's fine. Like we're all squished in here. Like I'm not gonna be like, stop touching me, you know? But she realized that it wasn't from being so squished together when he started just touching her butt. Like she was like, that's not okay. And she like literally leaned over and was like, okay, I like need to move right now. Can you guys move me to the other side right now? Like she felt so uncomfortable. And it kind of just, it put down like the mood a little bit, like the whole concert. Like I wasn't even like hyped about it anymore. I was like so upset that this guy had to like just come in and feel like he had the authority, that he had the right to go over there and touch my friend's butt. Anyways, that's something that I see at UCSB, at almost every party, at concerts, like, but I don't know, it's very prevalent, it is. But yeah, I think the main point that I really want to make here is that communication is very, very important, always. We're not really aware of the other forms of sexual assault and rape and how emotional manipulation can also be a form of sexual assault. Example, right away. So before you go into UCSB, you have to do these modules. I believe it was like the end of fall quarter. A frat member at UCSB sexually assaulted. I'm not 100% sure if he raped someone, so I'm not going to say that he did, but I know for a fact that he did sexually assault a girl. And oh my gosh, there's so many other cases of that. So it's very prevalent at UCSB, and it's so frustrating and it's so aggravating that UCSB's response, usually they'll send a whole, you know, email to everyone at UCSB saying, you know, what happened, and they'll say, okay, well, you know, we're gonna, you know, have a talk with the frats and we'll suspend them from holding, you know, any frats for a while, which they did. Yeah, okay, cool. And while me and my friends were reading this, we're like, okay, what else? And, you know, we're scrolling down. And then they said, okay, so we're going to have everyone, you know, take this module. And we're like, another module? Obviously, the first module that everyone took didn't click. It didn't click with some people and it didn't work. So why are we doing another module? What is another module going to do? I'm sorry, I'm like so frustrated. It's because what does a module do? Because I know, okay, the people that actually need to learn what's in the module, I know for a fact they're literally just like clicking next on all the slides in the module. They're not even hearing what people are saying. It's not entering their brain, or it's going one ear and coming out the other. They need something else. They need something like restorative justice, where it makes the aggressor take accountability and it involves everyone who was hurt in the process. You know, it helps them understand what they did, because honestly, I don't think any of these frat guys really understood what they did. I don't think they really understood it. So until, you know, the aggressor, whoever it was, really understands and takes accountability for their actions and understands what the repercussions of those actions are going to be for both him and the victim, he will never understand. He'll never be able to take accountability for what he did. You know, and they're going along, the frat guys are going along, and they're like, yeah, we'll take the module. Another hour, sure. I don't know. I think that's just, it's so dumb. It's really, really dumb to me. UCSB needs to do something else. They need to think of something else. You know, one thing I think they could improve on is the blue lights. Blue lights are they're like a pole or like a stick thing. They have like a button on them. You could press it and it's an emergency button. Security will come and like, you know, they'll walk you places. However, from what I've seen, I've only seen 2 blue lights on campus. One is by the library, and one, I'm trying to think of where the other one is. I know there's another one somewhere, but I've only ever seen 2. And I'm like, we only have 2? And I think the thing with the blue lights is that when you're at one blue light, you should be able to see the next, right? And we have like this Lagoon Road area where it leads from like the campus to IV. And at night, it's very, very dark. It's very secluded. There's not like a lot of buildings with people in them unless you go straight to IV. So I'm like, there should definitely be a blue light there. There should definitely be a blue light there because that is a very, very sketchy place. If for some reason an aggressor comes out, you know, you're gonna have to run very, very far to go somewhere with people. Just a thought, just a thought. But again, I'm gonna just read from this again. But unfortunately, because the system has failed young men and women about the proper education of sexual assault, it's up to young people to educate ourselves, you know, by attending seminars, reading books, having conversations about it. Unfortunately, this is a harsh reality. The education system has failed us on providing us, you know, true education on sexual assault. And it's really, really sad. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because our school system is very underfunded as it is. And you know, depending on your culture and how you grew up, it's not a topic that you can have easy conversations with your parents about. So I'm so you know, thankful that I'm able to, you know, take this seminar at UCSB and really, you know, educate myself some more, have a different perspective on things, see what I can do, you know, to make a change with this. I'm just gonna make another point. This can no longer be swept under the rug and can't be known as a typical Saturday anymore. Just in my first 2 quarters, I could say. Well, yeah, 2 quarters, because my 3rd quarter I got sent home because of coronavirus. But the first 2 quarters, there were a handful of names I can name of people, young women who were sexually assaulted by men on campus. And there's even an Instagram page called Catcalls of Santa Barbara, who women report, you know, sexual assault, or women report, you know, unwanted sexual remarks that were made by them. Like, there was this one where a student was by the beach and this man kept on taking pictures of her. This man made remarks about her body, which were unwanted. And, you know, nothing was really done. Nothing is done. And it's tragic. It really, really is. So yeah, my thing is that UCSB needs to do a better job about this. I don't want to discourage anyone from going to parties and experiencing new things and experiencing that, you know, UCSB IV life. I think it's a great thing to experience, but make sure to be safe while you're there. Make sure that you have people that you trust there. Make sure that you know your limit, and make sure you know to have that conversation with that person that you're having an intimate experience with, that confirmation of, yes, I want this. I know it can be very, very scary, and I know, you know, it's hard to do.